So, Sony Computer Entertainment decides to not do E3 this year. And you know what's funny, people? The reaction. Now, you notice how there is no Sony dudes jumping off the cliff. There is no Sony dudes making a big deal out of it. There's really nobody screaming about this. Let me tell you why nobody's screaming about this. Because those people are satisfied and they are definitely happy for what they've gotten. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is called customer satisfaction. And Sony has most definitely achieved that with the PlayStation 4. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Ryan the Professional. I'm back again with another video. Before I start, shout out to you guys, over 3,600 strong on the channel. Thank you guys so much for that milestone, as well as 700 followers on Twitter. Shout out to King Blood Gaming as well. I appreciate the tweet, brother. Now, I would have had a video up for you guys yesterday, but unfortunately my internet was doing somersaults, so to speak, so I couldn't really do anything for you guys. It actually went down. We had to get it fixed today. Luckily it's good to go, so you know, everything is fine. I'll definitely see you guys at 5 p.m. here on this channel for all the latest gaming news that we didn't get a chance to cover on the podcast. So for those of you that are new, RGT podcast, we do it every Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Definitely come swing by. You'll definitely have a good time. But without further ado, let's go again to this. So Sony's not doing E3 this year. Now, I'm not surprised by this at all. I'm not, to be honest with you. I'm not surprised for a few obvious reasons. But you know what I'm actually surprised by? The amount of grown men. I see grown men in their 50s. Yes, 50s. Making a big deal about this, saying that, you know, the reason why they're doing this is because they're trash. I see other morons with stock accounts saying, yeah, see, I told you, Microsoft brought all the talent, which is why Sony can't get no games for the event. It's like, oh, yay. The amount of comments that you see on Twitter is hilarious. But one particular one definitely made my day, basically. I saw Porter Rock made a mention of it, and I saw this tweet, and I was like, okay, I got to share this with you guys in the video. But my man said that the fact that Sony is not doing E3 automatically makes XO18 a great show. How the hell does Sony not showing up for E3, which is next year, mind you, right? Sony not showing up for E3 make an event that we just recently received, which was XO18, a good show. That show was 2 hours of literally nothing but Game Pass. And you mean to tell me that E3 somehow boosts that? How? I don't know. I can't understand Xbox logic. I really can't. But one thing I will talk about is the future. Now, as of late, when it comes to E3, right? When it comes to E3, ever since Nintendo kind of pulled out of E3 for the longest, they've kind of been doing their own thing. They don't necessarily show up to E3. Yeah, they'll have booths where you can play their games, sure, but they don't really be at E3. They'll actually, you know, stream the event, you know, in like a Nintendo Direct, so to speak. It's mostly been Sony, you know, and Microsoft. You know, them two would battle out, you know, in terms of who will win, so to speak, E3. And with those two always going at it, it's always one-sided with Sony. Sony always wins because Sony always delivers the most games and the most impactful experiences. Now, Microsoft does have a few, you know, instances where they definitely outshine the competition, but, you know, it rarely happens at this point. Now, when you look at Sony right now, Sony did talk about, you know, the reason why they're not doing E3 this year, as well as add a little bit of context on why they're not doing PSX as well. Guys, remember, PSX is not happening this year either. And the reason why they're not doing PSX is very simple. In one tweet or one statement in this very article from Sean Layton, he basically said the reason why we're not doing it is because we don't have the content. They don't have the crazy amount of content to push the event, and they don't want a repeat of what happened last year. Last year's E3, they literally basically had a meet and greet, and we were all there. It was basically a streamed meet and greet with the developers. You had Mark Cerny interviewing every single developer, and Shuhei Yoshida and Sean Layton all having a good time, basically. And a lot of us were looking at it, you know, from the online perspective, we're looking at it like, well, if you're doing this, then what was the point of the event, so to speak, right? You know? And that's basically what that was. If you were there physically, you had a blast, pretty much. That's basically it. If you were there physically, you had a blast. And that's what was PlayStation Experience Well, that was PlayStation Experience last year. This year, they don't want a repeat of that, so they're not doing it this year. Now, let's get into what's happening now when it comes to E3 and PlayStation. So, in this very article, this is what Sean Layton had to say, and I quote, "As the industry evolves, Sony Interactive Entertainment continues to look for inventive opportunities to engage the community. The company told Game Informer in a statement, PlayStation fans mean the world to us, and we always want to innovate, think differently, and experiment with new ways to delight gamers. As a result, we have decided not to participate in E3 2019. We are exploring new and familiar ways to engage our community in 2019 and can't wait to share our plans with you." So, in that very statement, Sony is definitely doing something different. And I'm surprised only one person brought this up on Twitter. Only one person that I saw brought this up, and that was Foxy Games UK. But we forgot about the PlayStation 5 now, didn't we? We forgot about the PlayStation 5. The PlayStation 5 is supposedly going to be shown in 2019, is it not? So who's to say Sony is not actually gearing up for something else? A new event, so to speak, or maybe a revamped PSX that's going to be streamed. You never know. Right there in the statement, Sony sees the times are changing, especially when we got two new consoles coming, and the rumor that there's going to be two alternate versions of those particular consoles that are going to be streaming based, because there is a rumor going around that Sony might have a streaming based console and a traditional one. So Sony definitely sees the trend that's going around here on the internet, and they're definitely trying to get with the times. So I can definitely applaud them for that, but at the same time, a lot of us are going to look at it like, what else is going to be shown, so to speak, and that's what's going to happen. So again, it's all a matter of like what's going to happen at this point. And I do believe, you know, Sony is definitely committed to deliver. But when you look at the situation, it's pretty obvious. Okay. When it comes to the PlayStation 5, again, I was saying a February 20th event probably would happen. So keep your eyes open for February. If they do announce something for February 20th, then obviously this my comment on this video might be a little different, but you know, they might do something like that as well. But I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to do. Who's to say Sony might not copy Nintendo, where they'll actually do Nintendo Direct, so to speak, but for PlayStation? They might do some shit like that. Who knows? But times are definitely changing. A lot of these events are costing money, and that is definitely a valid point. These events are costing money, but at the same time, you know, we are paying for them, but I'm pretty sure they're getting up there to the point where even at the current fees that they're charging for, what is like $200, $300 for like those crazy passes, so to speak, right? Even at the price that you're being charged for just to get entry, I'm pretty sure that's not enough for a lot of these events now, especially what they're getting bigger and bigger, you know, games getting out there and the amount of showroom space and everything. Yeah, I think something like that's happening, because Sony's always doubled up when it comes to showroom space. And they've always, you know, took the most out of the, you know, the events. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen, especially this year. But one thing is for certain, though, with Microsoft confirming that they are going to be at E3, I'm actually already looking at E3 with like a, so to speak, because Microsoft, man, I don't like to get my hopes up for Microsoft. I really don't. I really don't. If I get my hopes up for Microsoft and they give me abysmal shows like they did for XO18, and they're literally just jumping up and down like, yay, we got Sea of Thieves DLC, that's not doing anything for me, and anything that's not helping my sanity. So that's how I look at it, okay? So that's all I have to say about it so far, though. You know what I'm saying? It's a little unfortunate. We're not going to get an E3 this year from Sony, but at the same time, hey, I'm not surprised by it, and I'm actually okay with it. And the reason why, again, because Sony delivered. They showed they got the games, and there's so much more on the table, and I'm not really worried about that whatsoever. There's a lot more coming in the future for Sony, and of course, we have the new consoles as well. All right, so without further ado, that's pretty much the video. If you guys liked it, you already know what to do. Definitely hit that dislike button if you do not. If you want to hit that subscribe button, definitely hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell icon. Stay up to date here on the channel. I will see you guys later. Y'all be blessed. Y'all be easy. And we'll be back here at 5 p.m. for the RGT podcast. Later, guys.